What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a fucking banger. This is part one of a multiple part series. I'm not really sure what this series is going to be called or how many parts this is going to be, but you'll find out when this video goes live, I guess, what I decided to call it. But either way, hope you guys do enjoy this video. Drop a like if you do, and without further ado, let's dive right into it. So, I want to kind of give some background to this. So this was a very eventful weekend that just happened quite a few days ago. Not quite a few at all, actually, like a day ago. But, this is basically my experience going to PAX East. And I use that term very loosely because I'd never actually attended the event. I was just with a bunch of guys who did attend the event, and I just so happened to go with them and hang out with them. So, yeah, I hope you guys do enjoy this video. Let's dive right into it. So, this is something that kind of came up pretty spontaneously for me. A couple weeks ago, one of my buddies was like, yo, I'm going to PAX East. I'm going with a bunch of other dudes. We're going to be Airbnb-ing a fucking mansion. And all you got to do is pay, a little bit of money and then buy your plane tickets. And you could stay the weekend and, party with us and have a good time. So, of course, yes, that's all that's running through my mind. Just like, absolutely, take my fucking money. Get me in on this now. That's a 10 out of 10 brilliant idea. So, of course, I do what I gotta do. I pay my money, I buy my plane tickets, and I'm all set. I'm hyped up for this. And as it gets closer and closer to be, actually happening, and, my flight gets closer, I'm getting more and more hype, and finally, this past Thursday, I woke up early as shit. I woke up at 6 a.m. I packed my bags, and I got ready and hit the airport. And, I was on the same flight as my buddy who we're going to call Chad. And now, there's going to be a lot of names in this story. There's a lot of different characters that I'm going to go over. So I'm going to try to refrain from using names as much as I can, just for the purpose of making sure that this isn't, like, confusing, or you have to jumble up and remember who, like, 20 different people are. I'm going to really try to avoid using names in this one and just kind of describing things a little more generally. So either way, my boy Chad, longtime friend of mine, he lives in the same area as me. We're on the same flight, so he's texting me. He's like, yo, dude, let's get a limo to the fucking airport. We could smoke a big blunt in the back of his limo and, get it going. I'm like, nah, dude. I already got a ride lined up because I already had an Uber coming, and I just wanted to get to the airport. I was like, yeah, just fuck it, come to the airport. I don't want to throw down on a limo. You can do that on your own, whatever. So he was like, all right, yeah, sounds good. So, I get to the airport pretty early. My flight ended up taking off at about 10 a.m. And, I got to the airport at like 8 o'clock, maybe 8:30, I think. I'm pretty sure it was 8 o'clock though. And, I'm chilling, and he's texting me, and he's like, bro, I'm probably going to miss this fucking flight. And I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, I'm probably going to miss this flight right now. I don't know if I'm going to make it. My Uber's slow as shit, and he's a retard. So I was like, okay. Let me know, I guess. That kind of sucks. So, I end up shooting out a couple DMs on Twitter to a couple of the other guys who were flying into Boston from different airports. And Boston is where PAX East takes place, for those of you guys don't know. And, I'm like, yeah, Chad just said he might miss his flight, but I'll keep you guys updated. He ended up making it, so thank God for that. But, he comes in. Finally, I see him come into the airport. He's walking up to my gate, and dude just looks high as shit. I think I could smell the blunt on him. I don't know how TSA didn't stop him and frisk his ass, but they let him through. I guess TSA doesn't really give a shit about weed. They literally only really care about, like, guns and bombs. But either way, so finally we board our flight. Everything's good. We take off. It's a hoot and a holler. And, as I'm on the flight, I'm chilling. I'm tired as shit. I'm running on like maybe 2 hours of sleep, but I'm still pretty excited. And finally, we land in Boston like maybe 2 hours later, a little earlier than that. We got there fast as fuck, like way ahead of time. And, we had another guy who we were meeting up with who had already landed at the airport earlier that day, but had to wait at the airport for us because the Airbnb that we'd rented out, the, fat ass fucking house, wasn't available until 3 p.m. So we landed around like maybe 1 o'clock Boston time, and he'd been sitting at the airport all day drinking. He DM'd me while I was on my flight, so I didn't see it until after we landed. He was like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit at the bar and get drunk and day drink. So I was like, all right, that's a great way to start this trip. So Finally, me and Chad get off the plane. We meet up with our boy at the airport who is also going to be coming to stay at the house with us. We shake up with him and we're fucking with him. We're like, oh yeah, dude, we got this big limo coming. We've had this reserved, dude. Limo should be here right now. And he's like super drunk and super excited. He's like, oh yeah, dude, this is going to be dope. You guys seriously got a limo? Like, that's crazy. This is going to be awesome. And this guy's like literally jumping up and down, dude. This guy can't keep his cock in his pants, over this fucking limo. So, finally we get our luggage. We go to baggage claim and we're walking outside and, he's asking over and over, oh, dude, where's the limo? Is the limo here yet? And we're like, yeah, dude, it's, the driver's on his way now. We just told him. And, here comes this big beat up white, like Dodge Caravan, and driving it is like this super ethnic Kenyan guy. And he pulls up and he turns out to be our Uber. And his excitement vanishes immediately when we start walking up to the car. He's like, this is it? And we're just like, yeah, dude, it's the limo. And he's just like, fuck you guys. And his heart was broken because he was sauced up, dude. He was fucking hammered. We were all sauced up all weekend long. But, in particular, this guy in this particular moment was fucked up. So either way, we throw our bags into the Uber, we all hop in, and we're going to the liquor store. We're going to the house, but on our way to the house, we're trying to find a liquor store because we need some fucking drinks. And I'm not 21, but I was the only person in the car at the time who was under 21, so it worked out perfectly. So actually, there was me and one other guy in the car. Chad's also under 21, but the other guy we met up with at the airport was not under 21. So either way, we go to the liquor store. I hand him some money. I think I threw in like $80. He threw in some money. Chad threw in some money. We got a bunch of drinks. He walks back out with like 3 cases of beer, like 3 handles of vodka. And, I'm prepared for a very sauced up weekend. I look at this as he's walking out of the store and I'm just like, oh God, we're going this hard, huh? Like, this is what we're going to do, huh? This is going to be interesting. So, we help him load the car up. We help him get everything in there. He had some chasers too. I think he had some orange juice and some Sprite and some cranberry juice, I'm pretty sure. So either way, we load up the car and we go over to the Airbnb. Now, at this point, it's like 3:30, right? Maybe 3:15. So the house was open, but the owner of the house, the guy who owned the Airbnb, was waiting there to meet, whoever was coming and give them like a tour of the house. And we were the first ones to arrive at the house, we came to find out. No one else had gotten there yet or even landed yet. We were first there by a long shot. So, what ended up happening was our Uber pulls up to this fucking insane house. I'm talking like we go through this gate and we follow this super long driveway and there's just this giant fucking house. Huge backyard surrounded by trees, like no neighbors. And this house, to give you guys an idea, had a pool with a hot tub attached and a movie theater as well as a dance floor with a disco ball and a bar all indoors. All of that inside. Like, what the fuck, dude? This house was fucking nuts. So either way, we pull up and we start loading all of our liquor out of the Uber. And the owner of the house, the owner of the Airbnb, comes out. And the first thing he sees is these super young guys with a shit ton of liquor walking up to his house. And I could tell that this guy was very concerned immediately because this dude and his family live here. Like, as he's giving us the tour, he's like, oh yeah, this is my son's room. Just don't touch his toys. They're up there. Oh, this is my daughter's room. She's 3 years old. Just don't touch her toys. As we're walking into these kids' rooms with like bottles of like Smirnoff and fucking Heineken and shit. Like, yeah, no, don't worry. We won't touch your kids' toys. We're just going to get drunk as fuck, but don't stress it, dude. So he finally finishes giving us the tour of the house. He's like, all right, you guys have a good one. By the way, there's cleaning ladies that come, yada, yada. Just a bunch of dope shit. And he leaves. So the first thing we do is we go downstairs. We start, unloading all the alcohol and all the chasers and all our luggage and stuff and setting up the bar down there. Because, how the house is laid out is when you walk in, directly across from the entryway, there's the pool with the hot tub. And then to the right, there's some rooms, a bathroom, and then the kitchen / like living room. And then to the left is the staircase down. And downstairs, there's like 3 more bedrooms and then the movie theater, bar, dance floor, all that type of stuff. So, we go downstairs, we stock up the bar. We're already drinking. The dude who we came with and took the Uber with, not Chad, but the other guy, he was already drunk as fuck. But me and Chad were not drunk yet. So me and Chad started drinking. We were sipping on some Heineken. I was just walking around the house, completely shocked. I was like, there's no way this is fucking real right now. Like, this was amazing. Like, this was jaw-dropping. This house made me want to just pull out my dick and just masturbate aggressively, like, all night, dude. It was so nice. And finally, a bunch of the other boys came through. I met a bunch of people. A lot of them I'd already known. Some of them I'd never met before. So I'm just shaking hands with people. In total, there was maybe, like, 10 people who stayed here for the weekend, give or take. I think there was a little more than 10, but, first night rolls around, give it like 3 or 4 hours after we'd finished getting the tour and getting our stuff unpacked. Pretty much everybody's there at this point. And the first night, nobody really went to PAX on Thursday. I mean, we all got there fairly late because, I'd say by like 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. everybody was there. And, we were just trying to get really drunk and just have a good time. So the first night, we didn't really, I guess compared to the rest of the weekend, we didn't really go too hard. I got pretty fucked up, I'll admit. I was maybe like 8 beers deep, and I don't really remember a ton of what I did. All I remember is I got in the hot tub, drank a bunch of beers, and smoked a few blunts. And, as I was already pretty drunk, I got out of the hot tub, dried myself off, and it was maybe like 8 p.m. at this point, 8:30, I before everybody had even gotten there, as most of the people were getting there, I'd already kind of gotten the ball rolling and gotten myself started. So, I'm smoking a little bit, I'm drinking a little bit, and the interesting thing is, I completely forgot to mention this part. This happened before I started smoking. Our second Uber driver, we'd taken our first Uber driver to get back to the house, and then maybe an hour later, after I drank a little bit, we called a second Uber to take us to a guy who I'd met on Snapchat who was going to sell us some weed. And that guy was actually a subscriber, by the way. So whoever that is, you know who you are. If you want to like identify yourself in the comments, you can. If you don't, that's fine. But shout out to you, my dude. Thanks for coming through and being a plug and hooking it up, because I don't really know anyone out in Boston. So shout out to that guy. But either way, we had an Uber driver pick us up to drive me to meet with this guy who I was going to pick up some butt off of, who was a subscriber. And, as I'm talking to him, he could clearly tell that we were fucked up, this Uber driver. And he asked, he's like, so do you guys smoke? And I was like, weed? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, we smoke. And he was like, oh, shit, like, where are you guys from? Like, do you have any weed? And I was like, no, we're actually going to pick up some weed. And we started talking about like medical and a lot of things like that. And in that area, I actually wasn't aware this was a thing, but apparently recreational like recently got legalized out in Boston. I know medical's already legal, but apparently rec recently got legalized. So, there's not any like shops, rec shops in the area that I was in, because I was maybe 30 minutes out of the city, but there was, a medical shop, excuse me. And this Uber driver, he just so happened to have a medical card. Now, what for, I'm not sure. And his limit that he could buy wasn't anything crazy, but we were like, yeah, listen, dude, if you can get us some medical, we'll pay you for the ounce. Like, we'll give you the money to go buy the ounce and then tip you a little extra. And he was like, yeah, cool, that's fine, whatever. So we had him pull up to this dispensary that was maybe 20 minutes completely off the path of where we were originally going, and we'd like canceled the Uber ride at this point. And he goes inside, he's showing us like the website, and he's like, yeah, just look through these different strains here, they got a couple. So we're looking, we ended up picking, I think it was Super Lemon Haze, I believe that's what it was called, and it was like 28% THC. It was super duper fucking gas. And he goes in and gets this shit, comes back out, and it's taxed. Let me tell you, we paid like $300 on the ounce, I'm pretty sure, but it was really worth it, because when he came out with this weed, he didn't even open the bag or unseal anything, and it just stunk. It smelled like a pea, and it was only an ounce. And this shit was, oh, holy fuck. When I tell you guys that I really honestly haven't smoked weed this good very much at all. Like maybe 3 other times in my life I could recall smoking weed as good as this. Like, this shit was critical. This was some fucking chronic. Like, oh my God. That's all I can say. Just, oh my fucking God. My dick was so hard. And we ended up getting this ounce off this Uber driver. And he asked, he's like, so are we still going to that, plug that you guys are talking about? I'm like, no, dude, we already got some weed. Come back, drop us off. And, as we're getting to the house, I decided to ask him, yeah, do you want to come smoke a blunt with us? And he's like, yeah, sure. That's fine. So the Uber driver's coming in. I open my Snapchat, and I'm talking to the guy who is a subscriber of mine, who was originally going to sell me some weed, and he was going to sell me an ounce for like half the price that I got it from the dispensary, but that's because, it's not legal weed. But either way, or not quote unquote legal weed, but either way, I ended up hitting him up and I was like, yo, we're actually not on the way. Like, would you be able to come to me? And he's like, yeah, I could deliver. So I'm like, all right, yeah, just pull up and, let me know when you're here. So we get back to the house with the Uber driver. We chill for maybe an hour. We roll up a blunt or two, and I end up getting drunker. I'm hopping in the hot tub. I got a couple blunts rolled up. The Uber driver didn't get in the tub, but he just kind of hung out in the vicinity and smoked a couple blunts with us and kicked it. He didn't drink at all. But, Chad was also there, and he also hopped in the hot tub, smoked some blunts with me, and I got good and fucked up. And finally, someone else got to the door. It was maybe like 9 o'clock at this point, and I'm not like, at this point, I wasn't sure, like, oh, is someone else coming or what? I'd completely forgotten that I told, my subscriber, like, hey, yeah, come through, sell me some weed. And, someone goes and opens the door, and this dude walks in, and, I end up going to the door, and I'm like, oh, what's good? Because I didn't know who it was. I thought it was, like, someone staying there. And he's like, oh, yeah, like, are you Goblin? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, what's up? And then I kind of, caught on, like, oh, yeah, this is the subscriber I invited. I forgot about that. And, the funny thing is, originally, I'd only planned on getting 2 ounces for this trip, right? Chad was going to get an ounce and I was going to get an ounce. And we'd just gotten 1 ounce off the Uber driver, and we were going to get another ounce off of my subscriber who was just coming through, and that was going to be it. And, the next day, we had another buddy come through with 2 more ounces, and then we had a QP to smoke for 4 days, so we literally had to smoke an ounce a day. But either way, I'll get to that later. I just thought that was funny. So, the subscriber of mine, who we're going to call Billy, he pulls up, and, he's got an ounce on him. He's charging like 160. I throw it to him. It's all good. We're all having a good time. We're smoking in the Uber driver's car. We'd gotten out of the hot tub at this point because, I don't know, too many dudes in the hot tub. That's a no-go, so we had to evacuate, clear the scene quickly. So, we're smoking in the Uber driver's car. We're smoking in the house. We're chilling. We're all having a good time. And, eventually, as the night went on, after I finished smoking a couple of blunts and the subscriber had come over, as well as the Uber driver was still just kind of chilling out and walking around, talking to people and smoking, I'd gotten fucking piss wasted. Like, I'm talking, it was maybe like 10:30 p.m. at this point, and I had like just no idea what the fuck was going on. Like, I'm talking, there was some girls over, I think, maybe it was that night, but I was like too drunk to say hello. So like, I couldn't really hit on any bitches. So what I ended up doing was I went downstairs into the movie theater that had these super comfy recliners and just kind of fell asleep for the night. And, I knocked out. I woke up maybe 3 hours later, ran to the bathroom, vomited. It was bad. I threw up hard. I was really fucking drunk, and I was hungover the next day too, but I cured it with more alcohol. But either way, I hit the bathroom, I threw up, I was sauced the fuck up. But, after throwing up, I felt a little better, and I just kind of washed my mouth out and went to bed again. And the next morning rolled around, and, hoots and hollers were continued the next day. So either way, I'm going to wrap it up there because this is getting long. Hope you guys did enjoy the kind of first day summary. Drop a like if you did. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.